in other goods, you know, lifestyle goods. Now, if you close down that market, where do these people go?
Okay,
But how
so
do
you're
you
not
check
concerned-
fake? How do you
you're not
check fake
concerned
drugs?
about-
I'm coming
within that
I'm coming
market?
home. I'm coming home. What we are saying is, let there be inclusion, right? Do not exclude these people because they have eked out a living over the last 50 years. The entire pharmaceutical, you know, access chain was dependent or has been dependent on these people for 50 years. Don't uproot them.
But that was why
Bring
the government
them-
is talking about the mega distribution
Right.
channels.
I'm coming. You know, let me explain to you. We are saying bring these people under regulation, right? In other words, let us go back to what Dora prescribed many years ago. May her soul rest in peace, right? Where she said, let us create a market or a regulated drug environment where those people can be accommodated so that you don't exclude them, right? Now, it hires over 200,000 Nigerians. And when you exclude 200,000 Nigerians from, you know, daily living, I mean, you should expect trouble, right? That's one. The mega distribution does not address the problem, right? In that the mega distributors are also going to be selling to this same unregulated market. In other words, the fake and substandard drugs that you are trying to checkmate will not happen because that market exists, right, and will continue to exist. And in any case, it is not the market that is responsible for fake and substandard drugs. It is the criminal elements that have infiltrated them. And NAFDAC is doing a good job at checkmating. Don't forget that at a point it was said that 60% of drugs that were in this market were fake and substandard many years ago, right? But that story has changed, right? We are probably down to about 5%. So it's a matter of time. So we're saying, let these two work together. You do not dump the known, right, for the unknown and for the untested. Now, these so-called mega distributors we see as a cartel and a monopoly. Let me use the word cartel and monopoly. Why are they monopolies and cartels? It is essentially that you are asking hundreds of importers and thousands of importers of pharmaceutical products and over 150 manufacturers of pharmaceutical products to go and distribute 5,000 SKUs, drugs worth over 500 billion naira per annum through currently 3 or 4, you know, mega channels, right? That is a recipe for disaster. It will not work, right? And you do not want to go back in trying to solve a problem, create another problem. So we are saying, let us discuss it rather than legislate it. And we get to a point where legislation ties down investment of, you know, pharmaceutical manufacturers in the hands of a few cartel members.
In winding down, if you got a chance to sit with the president, Nigeria's president, what would you tell him about, you know, rejigging things in the pharmaceutical industry?
Thank you very much. If I get a chance to sit with Mr. President, and I'm praying I get that chance very quickly, my first appeal would be that he should prioritize Nigerian pharmaceutical industry. He should accord it a priority status. And what will quickly follow from that priority status is that it should receive adequate protection as required without violating any extant law. What that protection will mean is that Nigeria will become a hub for pharmaceutical manufacturing in Africa because the number is here, the population is here, the market is here. The risk is also highest here, should there be any scarcity. I go back to my building block that a population the size of Nigeria or the size of any population at all in the world, it is almost a human right now. Access to drug is almost a human right. Affordable drug, quality drug, effective drug, and on a sustainable basis. sustainability is where local manufacturing comes into. So I'll be asking Mr. President to immediately instruct that CET be looked at, because we believe that it was an error, that government means well, and that is my first prayer to Mr. President, is that CET, as it affects Nigerian pharmaceutical manufacturing, should be looked into immediately.
Okay, just before this segment, and I don't know how you can do this, if you can just get it out
in 10 seconds.
In 10 seconds, I don't know how. We were talking about economic policies and the devaluation of the Naira. You are a manufacturer. How is this? Is this going to affect you if the dollar gets to 250 and Naira gets to 250
Well,
to a dollar?
as it is, right, we are already in deep trouble, because manufacturing has become so expensive, because all of the inputs for manufacturing in Nigeria are imported. The machines are imported. Every, additive, excipients, the main drugs, what do you call them now?
Yeah.
The raw
APIs.
materials.
The APIs,
Active pharmaceutical ingredients.
Ingredients are all imported. The only thing that is not imported for the manufacturing of pharmaceutical products in this country is water. But even the chemical for, purifying the water is imported.
So what would you rather have?
How do you mean?
Like, we are talking about the Naira being 230.
Well,
if it gets there, what would you...
I think that, you see, the Naira being 230, there's not much you can do about it when your external resources, or your income from external resources is dwindling, right? It is to come back home and begin to build, the basics of manufacturing, right? Where manufacturing becomes the hub, right, and the strong point of the economy, rather than what is causing all of these problems. It is our propensity for imports, right? If you can reduce our propensity for imports, we become more, patriotic and buy more meat in Nigeria, right? You will begin to realize that our need for foreign currency, right, would reduce, right? And whatever meager resources we are then making, by exporting oil and through
So you're in for the policy?
I'm in for the policy. I mean,
Okay.
I
As long as the policy means increase in local production.
Right.
That is the only way to hedge the pendulum of swings
All right.
that we receive all the time. Somebody sneezes about the rate of the dollar, the rest of us are catching cold.
Thank
The
you
only
so
way
much.
to hedge against that is local production.
Thank
We are
you.
saying in that pharmaceutical is critical.
Yeah.
And if we do the right thing, in a very short space of time, this country would be like India is today, a net exporter of pharmaceutical products.
Thank you so much for
very
coming on
much.
this morning. We've
Thank
been
you.
speaking with the chairman, PMG man, that's Mr. OK Akpa. He's also the MD CEO of SKG Pharma Limited, and also the MD CEO Fits in Healthcare PLC and ex-officio PMG man, Dr. Fidelis Ayebe. Thank you both for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so we'll take another break, and it will be time to have the artist of the week.